Hello, and welcome to the Brooklyn Rail's 1059th New Social Environment. I'm Chloe, Director of Programs here at the Rail, and I have the pleasure and privilege of being your MC today for a conversation featuring Kimsooja and Barbara London. And now I'll introduce today's guest and host. Kimsooja is an international conceptual artist whose practice transcends distinctions of medium and form through works of painting, sewing, installation, performance, video, light, sound, and architecture. The evolution of her artistic inquiry from the material to the immaterial parallels Kimsooja's principle of non-doing and non-making that draws awareness to what already exists without the intent of making it. Her reflection on a myriad of social political issues and existential borders, from migration and displacement to identity, poverty, religious clashes, and life and death, find their origin in the question of the surface in painting. Kimsooja's work has been the subject of numerous solo exhibitions, biennials and triennials, and large-scale site-specific projects. And our host today, Barbara London's curatorial projects focus on sound art and new media. She joined the curatorial staff at the Museum of Modern Art in the early 1970s, where she founded the video exhibition and collections programs. While at MoMA, she organized many media exhibitions and one-person shows and led the acquisition of works by Laurie Anderson, Namjoon Pike, and John Simon, among others. Her book, Video Art, The First 50 Years, was published by Phaidon in 2020. She also produces the podcast series, Barbara London Calling. London has taught in the sound art department at Columbia University and in the graduate art department at Yale. And with that, I'm going to pass it over to Barbara London to get us started.
Thank you so much, Chloe, for the introduction. And Kimsooja, thank you so much for speaking with me today. It's a great honor. I think we first met maybe sometime like 30 years ago. So we both have long careers and we keep going, right? So maybe my first question is very simple, and we can start at the beginning. I'd love to know what prompted you to become an artist.
Well, I chose, of course, I was always interested in art and painting, and I was always having that kind of desire to be a painter since elementary school. But when I really had to make a decision before college, I was considering the aspect of confrontation of the other and the world, and also the contemplative element of being a painter around, towards the world. So that those two elements was one of the most important elements that I made decision to become an artist and also to go to art school. Yeah.
So I've always been fascinated by your work. I believe I first really became aware of it when I was invited to the first Gwangju Biennial in 1995. And I was quite impressed by your work that was out in the landscape. I believe you had your Botari on the
going into walking piece that I placed like almost 2 tons of used clothing and many of Botari pieces on the hill, right? You remember? And also put the sound pieces, actually the music by John Lennon's Imagine song. Yeah.
So you were working with these very humble materials, used clothing, used fabric, and there's something so rich and elegant, and the colors are gorgeous. So how do you make decisions? You have this massive material and then you turn it into something.
Well, the beginning of my career, I was really focusing on my questions on the structure of the surface and structure of the canvas as a painter in the late 70s and early 80s. So my question was actually extended towards the sewing and wrapping butari pieces in the end, which was all about the relationship with the canvas that is consists of vertical and horizontal threads, and also to try to reach beyond that structure, and also to connect with the self and the other. So all these questions on the surface of the canvas allow me to proceed a series of sewn pieces. And then those sewn pieces were done mostly by, anonymous people's used clothing. And sometimes with my grandmothers and my mothers and family members. And it was more or less also the assemblage of the portrait of humanity in a way. So all those sewn works were done in the 80s, and then this Gwangju piece was in a way relieving the sewing action, but let them be there, but putting our body as a symbolic needle that sews, when people were walking onto the heel, onto the used clothings. Because that was also dedicated to Gwangju, the massacre, the sacrifices. So I wanted to people aware of the invisible bodies, and people aware of their walk onto that bodies, as if they feel the body and the pain. So that was why I spread out, tons of used clothing on the Biennale, Mountain Hill.
I love, I'm fascinated by your use of the term botari. That's something that's very Korean, and it goes way back in the culture, because the botari was a way to transport. Is that right?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
So you continued that. You continued it up to today, and we'll talk about that maybe towards the end of our conversation. So another series of works that really fascinated me was your Needle Woman, which we have on screen right now. So you have amazing physical presence. You're standing there in different cities in crowded environment. It's not your face, it's not your portrait, but the people on the street turn around and see you. They're very struck by this woman standing still. Do you want to say something about how you came up with that idea and what the series is about?
This Needle Woman series has been started in 1999, when I was just moved to New York, actually, to live. And also, in a way, I was thinking myself as a cultural exile at the time. And when I was also invited by CCA Kitakyushu to do a new commission work, I had an urge to do a performance piece, but I never did it in the public space, as a performer. But I had a strong urge, and I decided to do a performance piece, one in the urban context, one in the nature. So one that was done in Tokyo, Shibuya, was the one in the urban context. And the other one, I was laying down on the mountain hill in Kitakyushu Mountain, was the one against the nature. And so my body has a certain kind of a vertical and horizontal axis against the nature and against the urban, society. So first of all, I did this performance without knowing what I will do. And I first started walking and try to find the right moment to really record the video. But after a couple of hours of walking in Tokyo area, and when I arrived to Shibuya, where hundreds of thousands of people were coming and going, I was so overwhelmed by the humanity, and I had to stop there, and I couldn't continue walking. And that was the moment that I also realized the reason why I was walking and also stopping. And then I directed the videographer to film me from the back, not from the front, because I didn't need, and also I didn't want to reveal my identity, but I wished to be a witness, and also I wish to be an observer. So turning my back around towards the audience, I did this standing still, continuous standing still performance. And I had an amazing transformative experience from the beginning till the end. And in the beginning, I was so overwhelmed by the humanity that comes towards me. But in a certain moment, I was able to center myself, and also my mind was full of compassion towards humanity and its destination. And at the end of the performance, I almost see the white light coming beyond the horizon of the humanity and its ocean. So it was a totally transformative experience, and I felt almost like enlightened. So from that moment, I decided to do this performance in the major cities around the world to meet literally everybody around the world. So that was the first starting of my Needlewoman piece. And the needle, the conceptualization, my body as a needle has been started from Sewing into Walking video, which I made in 1994. When I made it as a documentary film, I, realized when I was editing, my body is serving almost like a symbolic needle that weaves big fabric of nature. But at the same time, I realized that the video screen or camera lens is another wrapping method, wrapping tool that enwraps the humanity or the nature or the reality of life. So that was the moment that I decided to make that piece as a video piece, performance video piece, not as a documentary, because I discovered a new concept of video. So that's the starting point of video and also my performance. And Needlewoman has been also established as a concept of a needle from in line with that Sewing into Walking performance in a way. And needle has, in a way, many different faces and characters. as it is in a way an axis in this needlewoman performance. My body become in a way a barometer of this the society, but at the same time it's it has a certain dualities in it. Neither always has attacking elements with the needle point, but at the same time it heals and it connects two separate parts together. So all these, in a way, dualistic elements, and also interestingly, it has the void. The needle eye has a void in it that is also similar to, in a way, making empty space of my own body when this performance process has been going. In a way, people, the audiences wear my body. They place their body in my position and they start seeing what I was seeing as a performer. So in a way, my body is disappearing in the video scene. But at the same time, especially in Tokyo, Shibuya performance, as people do not pay attention to my performance and as if there is nobody around and they just pass by as if I am a ghost. So in a way, I feel that my body was almost erased, being erased, more and more and disappeared in the end. So with that, all the interesting relationship with my own performance and also the nature of needle I've been contemplating has been in a way, coincided in that piece, I think. The other interesting thing is it's also hermaphrodite. Needle is in a way hermaphrodite as a gender issue that I find.
That's fascinating, and it's fascinating. Like you're starting in Shibuya in Japan, a culture where there are lots and lots of people in an urban environment, and they're all within their own world. And then you go to other cultures like the one that's now on the screen, and then everybody is so surprised. So the different responses was quite interesting.
Every single, yes, exactly. Different continent, different society and geography, reacts a totally different, interest and reaction to me. So it was quite interesting, and also it was a way to understand the whole world for me, and also I understood the reality of the world and so on. So that was also the reason why I made the second series of Needlewoman for the Venice Biennale in 2005. That is actually performing in the most problematic and cities that has difficulties such as poverty, violence, post-colonialism, or civil war, or religious conflict. So that made me to look into these societies and countries from these 8 different cities, travel and experience as a needle woman.
There's, to me, always in almost all of your work, there is incredible compassion. So you bring that to your work and to your audience. So I have such respect for that and what you have been doing.
Thank you.
I want to ask you a question. I read that you said that you are as a nomadic artist, and you are quite nomadic. You're born in Korea, you lived in New York. You're now really spending a lot of time in France, and France respects you very much. What do you mean when you say you consider yourself a cosmopolitan anarchist?
Well, I didn't mean anarchist as a political term, you know. It was more like my own interpretation and my own kind of creation of a word as a in a way as a nobody, but at the same time as everybody, and as a person on the marginal line. Where I could embrace the wholeness and everybody and the everywhere, but at the same time, I place myself in a very kind of edge of the cliff in a way. So that was the moment actually when I first moved to New York, because I consider myself as a self-exile, and but at the same time I had a great compassion to the world and humanity and the wholeness. So in a way it states the status of myself at that time, I think.
So you have gone from the work like what I saw in Gwangju in 1995 and what we have on screen here. You have gone and had wonderful opportunities to create larger work. Do you want to say something about what we see on screen right here, which there's a complexity, yet there's an elegance and a simplicity. So
this was actually a piece called the Mandala Zone of Zero that I dedicated to the peace of the world and the harmonial coexistence of the world, as it was after the Iraq war and all the confusions and destruction of the world, and because of this religious conflict. So basically, it was also the exhibition, part of the exhibition. They commissioned me for the Korean Buddhist art at the time in Brussels, the Ravenstein Gallery, which is part of the Brussels Art Fine Arts Museum. So it is with all the pink colored lanterns, Buddhist lanterns. I almost installed 2,000 of them. And also the pink lotus flower also means in Buddhism in the generosity or sharing, things like that. So I combined the Tibetan monk chant and Islamic chant and also Gregorian chant in it. And it, in a way, mixed together and created a really harmonious sound. And it was my wish that the whole world could be, coexistent without conflict because of different belief of the religions. So that was one, actually, quite large installation I've done around that time. Yeah.
So there's the sense of elegance, the sense of simplicity and beauty. And then there's also the sense of community, like those lanterns. It's a community of lanterns, and then it's a community of people coming. So it's very interesting. Do you want to talk about what you're doing here? This is a commission in France, is that right?
So this one was actually the Reina Sofia
Reina Sofia.
in Madrid. Yeah, but Crystal Palace, they commission site-specific projects. That was in 2006, and that was my first piece that I incorporated the diffraction grating film onto the glass windows. And this is my first piece. Also, I conceptualized the architecture itself as a botari in a way by wrapping the surface of the architecture and also the placing the mirror onto the floor that in a way duplicate the upward ceiling parts. So it was quite a new and experimental piece for me as I in a way combined many of my working concepts and materialities in it, because I also added the weaving factory sound performance piece that I recorded my own breathing in it as another way of showing the border, the boundaries of our life and death by breathing in and out. Also, the mirror as another way of showing the reality and virtuality and the real space and also virtual space and also duality of it. So everything has been, all combined together in that architectural botari piece.
Because there's a sense of, of course, it's luminous, it's a crystal palace, so it's all about light. It was, I would imagine, a 19th century building, and it was considered the greatest of the great at that time. So you've got this vision of the world and something so euphoric, and you've pushed that out even further with the beautiful color that happens with the reflection.
And also this allowed me to relate the natural lights and also the architectural elements in my, I embraced in my practice. So this has been also a groundbreaking project for me.
So it looks so simple, but I know it's not. So that's one of your skills, I think. So maybe we should go on. You just showed this. Let's get the next image up. You worked with, do you want to say a little bit about this and the people you worked with?
This series is called Thread Roots. I actually already conceptualized this film project in 2002 in Bruges when I saw the lady was, lace making with a bobbin lace making, and seeing all her performative actions and movements of her hands and bobbins and the movements of the elements of the lines of threads and the structure of the bobbins. It really immediately reminded me of also a masculine way of lace making. In a way, it's the architecture, making construction of the architecture. So at that time, I already wanted to juxtapose those in a way, gender, in a way, oriented activities. But it took a long time to really begin the film. That was 2010 from Peru. that you saw the first image, someone was kneading, but also in Peru, there was a lot of weaving and, thread wrapping, and also local dyeing, and many, textile related activities. But at the same time, I juxtapose with the local historical architecture, as well as the natural phenomena around that area and landscape. So all these were combined as the way I gaze the world, as the way I gaze the world as a woven fabric. So this was one of the pieces. For example, this was in India. I was focusing more on the embroideries, block print making, and also dyeing, and also the sewing, and there are also amazing architectural sites such as Step Wall or Sun Temple, and also the Salt Lake, Salt Desert, and so on. So I've been always combining and trying to find the relationship with the daily life activities and landscape and architecture with the weaving activities and performance as well. And this was in China. Yeah.
So let's go on to your work from 2016. This one.
Mhm.
I was so happy. I was up in New England, and I happened upon, by choice, I went to the Peabody Museum, and there was your installation. So, and I think I sent you an email with a picture of me in the piece. At that point, I was so happy to come upon it. So here you're in a museum, the Peabody Museum in Essex, and I want to know how you came up with this idea, which is you turn the viewers plural, into a community. So they're walking into the space and they can take the clay and do this very repetitive gesture to make a sphere. Do you want to say something about this work, which is called Archive of the Mind?
Yeah, Archive of Mind. Yes, I first created this piece at MMCA Korea for the Hyundai Motors series in 2016. But before, how I came up with this making a sphere with the clay was that I was asked to send a certain kind of a piece that can be a container of a water for Yoko Ono project, water project she's been doing with other artists, and from Lyon d'Art Contemporain the director Terry Raspail asked me to contribute one. And I was thinking of a water container. I could think of many different container shapes and functionality, but I wanted to make something, the container itself is the water, so that I don't have to contain, and it shows as it is. So that's how I came up with this clay ball. And I sent the clay ball when it's still wet as a container. So that was the very first clay ball piece I made. And then I started interested in making it and observing it, and how it is created as a kind of a sphere by putting two different palms and as an axis, and moving all different parts of the sphere to make it as a perfect surface, the perfect sphere. It was very interesting the way it smooths out the corners, and also it resembles our transformation of our mind that is also more and more emptying ourselves, while I was making it more sphere-like a shape and more perfect sphere, because it's a durational, kind of performance that you also transform meditative and, kind of let things go and your mind become more empty and peaceful. So I suggested actually at my studio to my assistants, shall we do it together? Let's make it together. And then I just gave the clays, and they were all fascinated. They were all fascinated and so focused and enthusiastic about making it, almost like totally into it. So when I see them all working like that, I thought that, oh, this is not just I make the clay ball, but I should invite people to make it together. That is also one reason that I try to make a communal table, almost like 19 meters long communal kind of table, which is elliptical shape. And so at the end of the performance, actually, it creates another surface of painting for me with the sphere painting. And also I created a certain kind of sound performance piece that I was goggling the water in my mouth, that in a way the water ball was turning around in my mouth. So the goggling sound and also the dry the clay ball on the wooden table has been also played together with this sound, the clay communal table. So altogether, it in a way tried to create a certain kind of cosmic, in a way, atmosphere, and also cosmic painting in a way, considering all sides of or every single point of the spheres onto the table. Imagine all these points of sphere that touches to each other or to the table and turning around, and also the goggling and the drawing the clay ball sound. So it was more or less, for me, interesting experiment working with the others, actually, by in a way removing myself from the scene. So that was actually very interesting. But at the same time, it's a botari, unwrapped botari in a way, by wrapping it, by let them wrap,
It's really very special. You're relinquishing control. You're setting it up, a situation. And it, when I was there, people just really loved it and were very calmed, because normally in a museum you don't touch, so you opened up a situation. Yeah,
I think it was also very special because contemporary life, we don't touch earth. We maybe since when we were a child, and it was very special to touch the cold soil in my palm and feel it, and to go back to the origin of our life. So that brought many different aspects of life and memories, and one's own self, and their own like inner space as well.
but let's move on. Your work, developed. It just keeps on developing. But let's go on to what you created, To Breathe, in 2022 for the Cathedral Saint-Étienne in Metz. We could talk. Do you want to say anything about these pieces before we move on, or?
Yeah, this briefly, maybe we come back because you already questioned the Saint-Étienne piece.
Okay. Yep.
So this the Cathedral Saint-Étienne de Metz commission work for the new 15 lancels of stained glass pieces was really a challenging project for me. Not only because I was never, tried to do a stained glass project, but also this is one of the most beautiful and historical monument in France and Europe that has the largest surface for the stained glasses in Europe. So they invite like one artist every century, basically. There are, notably the Chagall's piece is very important and dominant piece in there. And there are many historical artists that are present there. So it was an amazing opportunity and honor for me because I was also the only women artist and as an Asian. So I think it was very special that they invited me to create this permanent piece. So I wanted to do something very much in line with the existing stained glass projects around the space to link with the past, but at the same time I wanted to do something new in this moment to create something new and more experimental. So the series of Obangsek color I created was in a way the existing kind of a rainbow spectrum in Western society. But at the same time, it is also with the diamond shape of a window structure that I just adopted as it is, because it can be also interested in Buddhist sense, because the diamond shape is signifying completion of self. So I decided to keep it and keep the interesting complexity in it, and also the Obangsek color theory in that, like a rainbow structure. At this time, at the same time, I wanted to combine the most ancient way of making stained glass, which is handmade glasses, but I layered one more layer, which is a dichroic kind of industrial glass on top of it. So there was double-sided glasses that, in a way, diffract the lights from outside and reflect it onto the space, but also the diffraction grating film has a nature to reflect the light. So when people are moving around, depending on the angles of the light, the light were constantly moving from one color to another. But as you see from this point of view, you will see more or less the transmitted color spectrum. So it looks very simple from outside, but when you enter and move around, you will see many different diamond shapes, glittering movement in it. So it gives a great like a transparency of the light. At the same time, the interesting interaction, that has not been in the cathedral stained glasses so far. So yeah, that was interesting and meaningful project for me.
Let's go back to the stained glass image, because I want to
Mhm.
know that's very complex. And
That
you,
is the top part of the stained glass.
yeah. So to work with an old technique and a new technique.
Mhm. Mhm.
So
Yes.
you can't quite make glass in your own studio, or you can't quite. So were you spending time with the glass people, or were you spending a lot of time in the
Definitely.
church?
Yes, a lot of travel back and forth to France and to Metz Cathedral, but also to Dijon, where there was a atelier Parot, who was known as one of the best stained glass makers. Actually, he was also making the repairing the damaged the Notre Dame stained glasses. And so I've been moving back and forth, and also I've been also experimenting in the studio. So it took a lot of time and energy and travel and also thoughts. And it's not so simple to work on stained glass pieces, because you cannot really work on that stained glass directly. So you have to work on it on another level, on another basis, and then you just bring it there and fix it as a final state. So there's some kind of risk, uh, and a little bit of anxiety actually. How it will work. But actually, in the end, it was very yeah. I was grateful that all worked out very well, and it created a certain new quality of light into the cathedral, because most of the stained glass pieces uses the black color in it to, in a way, darken the space, but also keep the certain kind of somber like atmosphere in the cathedral. But I wanted to bring really like a clear and also bright color, transparency into the space. So from that window, it really shows the transparency, as if the light is coming really from the heaven, from the sky, directly to us.
So it's fascinating as an artist to take a risk, but then to work with a process that, although you've worked a lot with light before, but here then you are working with someone very skilled, and so it's learning. Yeah.
It was also great learning process for me too, and also on the glasses, because for the glass pieces, I had to go to another glassmaker's shop to make decision, and every single samples. It's an endless job, endless choices
Always,
you have to make. Yeah,
always
but I
endless,
had
right?
wonderful. I had wonderful, artisans who helped me for this project, and yeah, it was really great collaboration with them.
Yeah. So let's move on to the next one, which I think is the Paris Metro. Is that right? No, yeah. So you went from
The metro
something,
station. Mhm.
very sacred, a space that's
Mhm.
very sacred, to something that's very public. So how was that changed for you?
Well, I wish also, the public space, sometimes I wish to make it as a sanctuary for the, you know, day life, activities, and also for the commuters, for the urban kind of a life that is always hectic and, fast forward and, had no time, but I wanted to have people to pay attention to the piece and have a moment of contemplation, have a moment of rest, a moment of light and bliss, and to have a peaceful and positive energy for their daily life.
So what did you do in this case? Is that a filter that goes on existing glass and you had to then
Yeah,
experiment?
it was called the subway is called Mairie de Saint-Ouen, number 14 line, and it's a newly built, quite wonderful new metro station. And it's a new glasses. There was nothing before, and I decided to put the specific film onto it, hologram film, which is different from the diffraction grading film I used for the Crystal Palace. That is mostly diffracts the light, but this hologram film is more about more kind of response to the reflection and the light directly. So it has different quality of light. But it was interesting because this atrium has quite wide space. Down below is the track, the metro, trains track. So it has a quite large space in it. But when you look into it, the color and light rays are passing through the space as if the light is existing in the space, not on the surface. So that was quite interesting, and I'm glad that we were succeeded to create that. Actually the provision we had from the beginning. Yeah.
So it's a lot about the color, the space, and it's not about the public seeing a reflection of themselves. It's more about then as they're passing, they see something quite beautiful. Is that right? Sure.
Yeah, I mean, it's more like a passing by, almost, it can be almost like an object in a way, ethereal object in a way. So it will always change the effect and for the viewer when they pass by, because it constantly changes from the position of the viewing position.
So let's move on to, there are two more things for us to talk about. One is your piece at the Bourse du Commerce in Paris. And that seems like that was quite a big project for you to undertake. Do you want to tell us something about what you did here?
Yes, that was the rotunda space of Bourse du Commerce. For the project they created for this season called Le Monde comme il va, the world as it goes. So they gave me the carte blanche for my show, and so this rotunda space and also the 24 vitrine pieces around the rotunda, and also in the downstairs, I had the Needlewoman piece, the Pinot collection has already, and I put that installation. And also I showed the Sewing into Walking. We started talking in the beginning, and also the Thread Roots 6 channel was shown in the auditorium. So it was a quite large project, but this particular rotunda space was a very special location because it was once used as a grain storage, but also as a Bourse de Commerce, like a commercial exchange place. But then Pinot asked the Ando Dadao to renovate it. So basically, Ando Dadao was addressing the verticality of the space based on the horizontality of the rotunda. But instead, I was actually creating verticality of the space, and in a way based on our human existence that is more vertical. So the whole space was covered with 400 something pieces of mirror glass mirrors, and in a way invert the upper kind of a dome space below our feet that created a certain kind of a double kind of a space and a virtual kind of dome underneath our feet, so that people can always enter the space and place their body in between these reality and virtuality, but in extreme, and like a heaven, and also the other heaven is underneath your feet. So people are really fascinated and try to examine their bodily movement and their selves, and spending a lot of time to really figure out the space and the relationship with their body. So in a way, it was my first kind of a more public performance piece that I invite the audiences into this plateau, in a way, the stage of mirror. But I've been always considering the mirror floor pieces. When people were entering, I always secretively looking at them as my performer. But this, I have to admit that this become really like a public performance pieces, because every single body, every single person really react to this space and to their bodily movement, bodily expression, and the movement of the light around the clock. So it became like, in a way, like public park at the moment.
That's very special, Alan. So in the Peabody Museum, you offered, through the clay and the making a ball, the public enters into the work. Here they're entering also by acting, so it's another form of action, and it seems like they really they're really running with it. They're enjoying it a lot.
Yes, yeah, we are quite happy about the piece.
So let's move on to your exhibition that's on view right now at the Tanya Banaftar Gallery in New York. I think it has another several weeks. And I think you call this show, you use the term Botari with the title. So let's go into what you're doing here. Again, you're working with light. Do you want to say something how you're kind of painting with light in this space?
Mm-hmm. Well, my whole career, has been doing painting, basically, in a different form, a different experiment, because I didn't, drop that idea of being a painter and my question on the surface and the canvas until now. That is why I've been doing so many different experiments. And I also returned to meta painting, which is the title of the show, but also you see on the second floor, the linen canvas as it is, and also the the butari made with a linen canvas fabric, because actually that piece has been created in Vanos Konst in Sweden in 2020, called Sewing into Painting. And I planted almost 1 acre of flaxseed in the field, and we, sowed the blossom of it and also harvested it into 2 different kinds, and one with the flaxseed for the linseed oil, and one for the linen fiber to make the canvas fabric. So those are 2 materials which are basis of European Western painting. And I returned to that question as a painter after over 40 years, so that I consider this project as my cyclical project in a way. And it's the painting that I don't need to paint. It's the butari that I don't need to show the cultural kind of meanings in it. But mainly for the formalistic character of the butari and formalistic character of the painting itself. So because often people don't see that, but mostly seeing the surface of the butari, which is more color, also the cultural significances, and also all the embroideries and like life-related meanings in it. And also sometimes, of course, it is also related to migration, exile, war, and departure, and so on. But it also has a very fundamental formalistic elements. So that is the big title of the show. But at the same time, I show a few of the pieces I've been doing with the lights. So the facade of the window glasses, I placed the diffraction grating film I've been using for quite some time, since Crystal Palace. That is called To Breathe. And that surface defines the interior and exterior space by diffracting the light into the rainbow spectrum. But at the same time, it is the painting for me, because that diffraction film has 5,000 kind of horizontal and vertical scratch lines in 1 centimeter each. So it's consists of endless, invisible threads in it, transparent, translucent threads in it already. So it's a canvas for me, and it's the diffraction that creates light painting through the natural light itself, depending on the structure of the space, depending on the weather, depending on the time of the day and the season. So it has all the threads I've been working through in my career in it. That's why I consistently using this specific film as a painting. And also the first image you showed at the gallery, To Breathe, with the mirror panel and the video projection, To Breathe, is actually created for the Centre Pompidou Metz in 2015 first. And it is, in a way, the mirror itself is a wrapping method, in a way, but at the same time, it's unwrapping the reality. So it does wrapping and unwrapping as it is, and also it has interaction with our eyes, our gaze as another way of sewing and another way of weaving the space and onto the mirror, and our walk, our body as another needlework, sewing into walking within the on the mirror. But at the same time, this video piece, invisible to a mirror woman in no, sorry, to read invisible mirror, invisible needle, which I've been working since 2003 to up to now. I've been kind of reformatting a little bit for this project, but it's created by basic the graphic spectrums, color spectrums, but with a certain light ambience around it, I was able to create this color spectrum almost as a painting that is moving rather than video that is painting. So it feels more as a painting for me rather than video, especially when I was presenting this piece at Centre Pompidou Metz. I was quite astonished by the light element, light quality that created completely like a moving painting by projecting the video. So I wanted to recreate that kind of a project in Tanya Bonakdar Gallery, and hopefully I could create a full space with the mirror and with a little bit more expanded space, so that people can also experience more vast areas of mirror and the floating painting within the space.
Well, this has been really wonderful. You're so eloquent in discussing your work. So I've learned a lot, and I'm very happy about that. And it's really special to be in conversation with you.
Thank you so much, Barbara, for your thoughts and time. And also, thank you so much for Broken Rail and Chloe for making this possible for tonight. Thank you so much. Thank you.
It's been an absolute pleasure to witness. Thank you both so much. That was an absolute joy. Thank you also to Thomas Brown and Kimsooja's studio team and the team at Tanya Bonakdar, who were so supportive in preparing for this recording. And we'd also like to thank the Terra Foundation for American Art, who sponsors the Rails New Social Environment Program and makes conversations like this one possible. And thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you. Thank you, Kimsooja. Bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Bye.